as I recall,
Okay, so
and flew back
okay.
to the United States. But
so what was the gunnery school? What did that consist of?
that was 5 months of training on all the different types of guns. And
For the Navy?
Navy,
okay.
yes, and it was at Navy school right there in Washington, D.C., in Anacostia, which is in southern part of Washington, D.C. And
so was it on the ships? Or
no. This was on
the shore?
We were in school, yeah. And we stayed in the bachelor officers' quarters at Anacostia, and we went to class 5 days a week, and learned all about guns and so forth. It didn't mean much to me because I wasn't going to stick around, but I went through it.
So how long were you after you graduated from the ROTC program, how long was your enlistment for?
Well, it was 2 years, was the contract to go to ROTC, which paid for my tuition and so forth. I had to sign it on for 2 years.
Okay.
When we got up, the Korean War opened up, they extended us all a year. So I ended up 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then, how long did you spend in school then, in Washington?
Oh, 5 months. And then
5 months.
After that 5 months was over, I was assigned to an aircraft carrier in the Atlantic.
Okay.
And, of course, the war was over by then, so... and I was the first lieutenant, and I had damage control. And we had some pretty funny accidents and some fires, because the planes coming in, some of them would miss the tripwire or something and crash.
Wow.
And you'd have fires. And boy, those fires are hot because that air gasoline is just terrible. And then we came into Brooklyn Navy Yard, and we were there for, I guess 6 weeks.
And then
And then they were going back out again, and that's when they sent me to Boston to let me go. Huh. And the irony of this is, John, when I left the ship, my replacement got my bunk and myself, and they went out the next week out on maneuvers, and a plane crashed into the deck, and the guy was killed in my bunk.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine how lucky I was to be out of there?
Wow.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Got a bunch of Marines qualifying, Marine pilots, and that's when it got really rough because those guys weren't as well trained on the aircraft carriers, and so some of them came in really wild. And one experience I had that was really funny, but this was back when I was a midshipman. I was on an aircraft carrier then, the Princeton, in my junior year, and we went over to Hawaii and spent the summer in Hawaiian Islands and came back. I got my first airplane ride. I was launched off an aircraft carrier. Now we were on prop jobs then, no jets. They'd shoot you, or you go off, and when you got to the end of the runway, your plane would go down like this because it wasn't the momentum. It wouldn't go to the water, but it'd go down. And I'd never flown before, and I was in the gunner seat, which looked astern. So I'm looking at this huge aircraft coming at me. I was scared. Well, they said, now, before you take this flight, we're going to teach you how to ditch. So in 35 seconds, they taught us how to get out of a plane and get your... And, of course...
And so you're thinking, like...
Forget it. Yeah, yeah.
Go there because of the ROTC program?
Yes.
So you knew that's what you wanted to do.
That's right. Well, of course, I wanted the free education, too,
Yeah.
But I thought that would be a good employment for me when I first graduated, and then I could do something else. And what I ended up doing was I finished that. I was eligible for the GI Bill, so I went to graduate school on the government, too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so all my education was paid for by the
So the Korean War started after you were in school then, after the ROTC?
Well, the Korean War started... I got out in July or May of 1950, and I think the war started around August or September of 50. And by then, we'd been in England, and we were Plymouth, England was where the port was, and we were going to use that as our base until the war broke out. When the war broke out, they wanted us down in the Mediterranean. So that's when we went to Villefranche, and that became our home port. And we'd go in and out of there to some of these places. This shows the tour, but many times we came back to Villefranche before we went to one of these ports.
But you had no ideas that when you went to school that you'd be fighting, you'd be a part of a war. You
no,
just figured. So was that? What was your sort of reaction when you found out? Like,
we were shocked.
Were you shocked?
Yeah.
You were sort of like, what have I got myself into? Sort of. Like,
well, yeah.
This isn't what I signed up for.
No. Well, of course, nobody signed up for that.
Yeah. No.
But of course, if you had to be in some service during Korean War, the Navy was the place to be because they didn't do much.
Yeah.
We
you got the party on ships.
Launched some aircraft and so forth over there, but there wasn't many battles like that for the Navy.
Had you considered any of the other ROTC forces?
No. This was the only one. It's funny, when I was in high school in my senior year, some correspondence came about the Holloway Plan, they called it. And prior to that, the Navy had run a V6 program, but that was much more complicated, and you went under their program, but you had a lot more training from them. We had as we're going through, we had one naval course at Tufts each year, and you're going 3 times a week for that. And we also had parades. But anyway, we had to do that training, and then for the summer, we were required to take these cruises. Required. It was fun.
Yeah.
We went, the first time we went down into the Caribbean and went to places like Jamaica and Haiti and Puerto Rico, Cuba. We could go to Cuba then.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in fact, we went in and out of Cuba, the airport or the naval base there all the time while we were down there, and it was kind of fun.
Yeah.
And then the second year, we went to Hawaii. I guess Hawaii was the second year, and that was fun too.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And then the third year, I think we went back down into the Caribbean again because they had to find someplace for us to go.
What kind of, were these destroyers or cruisers you were
Well,
on?
the first year I was on a cruiser.
Okay.
Second year I was on an aircraft carrier, and the third year we got a combination of cruiser and destroyer. You got some time on each. In fact, I spent 4 days on the submarine too. So,
that must have been cool.
Yeah.
What were your duties on board the ship? Like
as a midshipman?
As a midshipman.
We didn't have much of a just learning.
Just learning.
Yeah, and stay out of the way. Yeah. We didn't do much. I mean, we were in dungarees and so forth and doing some scrubbing and everything like the crew did, but not too serious.
What did you go to school for in the first place?
For business administration. I took a master's degree there.
So that's what when you went to Tufts, is that what you wanted to do all along?
Yeah.
Business? Okay.
Yeah.
So then it's a war sort of just wait.
Yeah, I was an economics major at Tufts. So,
okay.
Yeah. And then when I graduated, I got married. And then I had to work.
After Tufts? Or
after
grad school?
BU. After BU.
Okay.
Yeah. It was unfortunate in a way. I wish we had been married when I went over to Europe, because all of the officers were able to bring their wives over there and transport them around to all the ports. They went on private venue, but they still followed us all around. It was a great experience for a lot of them. We went to Rome, and 22 of us had a private audience with the Pope. Wow. I'm not Catholic, but it was a fascinating experience.
Sure was.
No more, you can't get near the Pope anymore because of the and not only that, but it's so huge, the whole complex.
Yeah.
But back then, he just let you in. He blessed 2 fellows' weddings, marriages, while they were there, and that was kind of nice to watch.
So how many officers were on the Columbus besides you? Was it
Probably, I'm going to say, I'm going to be.